C.
10. Ground control to Major Tom. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
News Talk 640 WFNC. I take off my hat
Lift off.
to Dr. Michael Zapp, who's in the control room here with me. He's a humble guy. If it were not for you, I would not be here. And I don't say that lightly. Dr. ZAPPA was the first person that I saw at Cape Fear Valley Medical Center when I came down with COVID beyond what I could control at my house. My wife, Doris, rolled me into the emergency room. You were in a zoot suit thing-majiggy thing. But I knew it was you because you and I had done stories about COVID on several occasions. And you said, Gilbert, you're going to be okay. And next thing I knew, I was up on the COVID ward with 2 pounds of oxygen in comparison to everyone else who was on 6 pounds because they didn't take the vaccine. I took the vaccine, and I think that kind of helped me come through here. So I have seen you on occasion, but I always like to thank you and acknowledge the fact that because of you, I'm still alive and kicking with a little bit of COVID scarring on my lung, but that's to be expected. But that's not why you're here. You're here because kids are running rampant, and you work in the emergency room. You're the chief clinical officer at the emergency room, and I'm sure you see all types of injuries surrounding kids in summer and even adults in summer. Welcome to Good Morning Fayetteville.
Thank you, Gilbert. It is a sincere pleasure to be here and be sitting with you and seeing you so healthy and well. And I'm excited for both of us that that is all in our rearview mirror.
Yes.
But summer is in full swing. And summer, unfortunately, is the season for trauma because everyone is outside doing things, and especially our children being out of school. When you look at things nationwide, the pediatric trauma really shoots up. If you take things like bicycle accidents and scooter accidents, in the summer, the nation's EDs will see over 65,000 such cases. Cape Fear will probably get 300 serious pediatric trauma cases. And what's really heart-wrenching for myself and the entire emergency team is that 90 to 95% of these injuries could be prevented if the child would just wear a helmet.
Well, and that brings me to the point of why I invited you in here. And Kenny, I've got you up with us as well because you've witnessed this in your neighborhood. We're starting to see people in our community. Yes. I live in Blakefield, and I see kids on these scooters that are motorized right now. We didn't have these when we were growing up. You know, I had a skate and put on a piece of a 2x4, and you kind of, push your feet. You remember that, Kenny?
Yes, sir. But exactly what you were referring to, you said it happens in your neighborhood. I just saw it. I witnessed it this last weekend. I wished I had my camera out, but this kid went zippity split, no helmet, on one of those little motorbikes. And what's really frightening to me is there's no way a car is possibly going to see them.
Well, this goes even beyond a car, Dr. Zappa. It has nothing to do with a car. One of those vehicles moving as fast as they are with a child, or an adult for that matter, without a helmet on, hits a rock, hits a curb. What's the outcome?
So what you wind up with, sadly, is what we call a TBI, a traumatic brain injury. You know, none of us wants to see a child with a broken wrist. No one wants to see a child with a broken leg. But those things will heal over time. Painful, inconvenient. But traumatic brain injuries, very hard to recover from. Most people, 70%, will never get back to exactly who they were before they had the traumatic brain injury.
Let me hand you this. Push the play on that for a second. Kenny, I'm showing you this thing here. Push play on that, and you can. Now, this is a guy riding a bicycle. He has a helmet on and everything. He makes a bad turn all of a sudden. Yeah. All right. Now, you see the end result of that in the hospital. This guy has a helmet on. He probably scarred himself up pretty badly. So as you mentioned, he's probably going to recover from that part. Thank God he had a helmet on. If he didn't have a helmet on, what's the process? How's it? What plays out?
So that's what makes it very difficult. We continue to advance in all areas of medicine, including neurosurgery. But one of the things we haven't figured out is how to regenerate damaged brain tissue. So when the impact occurs to the skull and there's bleeding on the brain, it damages brain cells. Brain cells don't grow back. When you break your arm and we're able to align it, ultimately the bone cells regrow and attach themselves and heal. That is not what we have figured out how to make our brain do yet. Hopefully one day in the future, but right now that's really not a possibility. Our best medicine is prevention.
Well, we do a show like this, and people say, "Oh, Gilbert's trying to scare us to death here with what's going to happen, and everybody's going to die." Yeah, but as you mentioned, you said 90% could be prevented if we just take some precautions. And we got Father's Day coming up this Sunday. So somebody's got to stand up and be a parent and say to a child, you can't ride that particular vehicle without your helmet on. And that's just not the case. And it's unfortunate that I see it right in front of my street, where these kids are riding by, and adults even for that matter, riding at 20, 30 miles an hour. You don't even have to be going that fast. Talk about that a little bit, because it doesn't take much for you to fall over and hit your head.
Absolutely. I mean, we see serious head injuries with non-motorized scooters and bicycles. The head needs to be protected. Just think for a second if you've ever had a cantaloupe fall off your counter on the floor. That is a fall of less than 3 feet at a minimal speed, and the amount of damage. Now, granted, fortunately, our skulls are a little thicker than a typical skin of a melon. However, shaking of the brain inside, the brain is very soft and cannot withstand a lot of damage.
You have any cases that really stick out to you without any HIPAA violations here, just in terms of you're in the emergency room, besides me coming in with COVID, you see people at their worst, just about. Well, what sticks out to you? And you said, you just shook your head and said, man, we could have avoided this.
So there's a sad case in particular where over years I've gotten to see a family bring in their now teenage child that suffered a traumatic brain injury back when they were 8 years old. This child continues to be total care now for the parents. So they continue to feed the child like they had to do when they were 18 months old. Very loving parents doing the right thing. But I feel for them every time I see them and say, what was harder? Is it harder what they're doing now? Or was it harder to stand up and say, no, you're not going outside without that helmet?
Well,
I know the choice.
Well, and it's easy, again, for us to play hindsight and Monday morning quarterback. And Kenny, I've got you back up here as well. We see this stuff happening. I've got 7 adult kids, and as I mentioned, 15 grands. Nobody rides a bicycle at my house without a helmet, not even my wife, Doris. And she has a nice bicycle that she hasn't been on yet because we haven't gone to pick up the helmet for it. And so it can happen. I mean, I don't know how much desire she really has to ride a bike, but I can in good faith. And I've got these ellipticos that I ride, which are, elliptic machines without seats. And, I was a distance runner back in the day. And so that I enjoy riding that. I don't ride it without a helmet. My grandkids are licking their chops to get on it. They've yet to be on it because we don't have the helmets that they need in order for them to ride that type of vehicle. And again, Kenny, your daughter's what, 19 or so, or
no, sir. She's a little older. She just turned 30.
30, okay. 19, 30.
Yeah. Which, but my ex-wife, she was very adamant. I mean, she enforced it because I'm a little bit of a rebel. But I want to direct you to the video. Don't look very long. I was shocked. Apparently, The man who saved your life has seen this because he's in trauma. This is
Well, I don't know if you can see it there. This is a screen right here. That is
they're doing
the
brain
scalp.
surgery. Yes,
right. Brains. Well, we don't have to get
There it
to that point.
Yeah,
and that's
but
the
if
whole.
if you see it, then you whoa.
Well, but again, it goes back to the point that I'm not here to traumatize and scare anyone, and nor is Dr. Zappa. Dr. Mike Zappa is the chief clinical officer for Fayetteville Valley Health here, Fayetteville Valley Medical Center. A personal good friend because of our relationship through my COVID battle. But you came to mind when I'm seeing kids who are doing things that could be avoided. And stop us from having more than a conversation except, how are you today? And did you enjoy the weekend? And what are you doing for Father's Day? We want to make sure that parents will enjoy this Father's Day without being in the emergency room.
That would be the best Father's Day gift that we could give to all of our brethren fathers, is to let your kids have an awesome summer, get out there with them, and enjoy all the fun things of summer. But laying down the rules, go back to what you said, lead by example, because children watch what we do a whole lot more than they listen to what we say.
Well, that's right. It's like saying, hey, you don't smoke. Now put that, I can't smoke and tell my kids not to smoke. Same thing is true here with riding a bike or whatever it might be. And it doesn't even have to be a bicycle. Let's just very quickly, we got about 4 minutes here, talk about the importance of wearing seatbelts. We just had 3 Fort Bragg soldiers who died up in Wake County, 2 of whom were ejected from the vehicle because they didn't have seatbelts on. A third who was in the vehicle with a seatbelt on did die, and then there was another individual who had a seatbelt on who is in the hospital in serious condition. Something as simple as wearing a seatbelt in a car. And I've had a highway patrolman says, Gilbert, all the years I've done this, I've never unclipped a seatbelt from someone who's passed away. It's a pretty simple thing to do. You're not wearing a helmet in your car, but man, it's important to wear a seatbelt.
Absolutely. And it's great. Over my career, I have seen the acceptance of seatbelts rise so much. I can remember as a kid growing up, the seatbelt was my mom's arm coming across.
Right.
And we've gotten so much smarter. So that has to be continued to be enforced, because that one time when you think, oh, let's squeeze some extra people in the car and not use that seatbelt, that's when the accident happens. Accidents are not planned. They're going to occur when you least expect them and when you're not prepared.
Yeah, and it's too late to put the seatbelt on at that point. Have you been in a vehicle accident over the course of your lifetime?
No, I've not.
You're kidding me.
Yeah.
This guy, hey, we need to go play the lottery ticket or something with this guy here.
No doubt. That's a charmed life.
Yeah. Have you been in a car accident, Kenny?
2 totals. Walked away.
Did you have a seatbelt on?
I did.
Absolutely right thing to do.
There you go. And I was in one not too long ago. And, they happen. Someone turned right in front of me, and the airbags, that's the other thing. We got airbags and all types of safety issues that we didn't have growing up back in the 60s and 70s. All those old-timers in there. You don't look like you're old enough to be as old as we are. But us old-timers, remember the time that we're in vehicles, and you're right. Dad would put his arm out to stop your head from hitting the dash. If your head hits the dash, is that headed towards a TBI also?
It could be. At a minimum, you're going to wind up with a concussion. Remember, a concussion is memory loss, bad headaches, nausea, vomiting, but it could move all that way to a traumatic brain injury. Or for the people that hit the windshield, you're looking for the services of a plastic surgeon. And even the best plastic surgeon will never make the scars go 100% away.
Well, Kenny's a testament to that right now.
Yes, sir. We'll talk about that later, but every now and then, just to give myself a reminder, I feel that scar. I had a surgeon repair the optical facial nerve. So, yeah,
wow.
Trauma is brutal.
All right. Well, look, Dr. Michael Zappa, it is a pleasure to see you, my friend. All cleaned up and spiffied up and everything. Are you heading to work today?
I am. Going right there.
You're going over there, and you spend some time to come out here and be with us to talk about these issues. We're working out a deal now with Fayetteville Valley Health to have someone come out on a regular basis to talk about health-related issues here on Good Morning Fayetteville. So we appreciate you. I got Kenny making signs at me. You're still on the air here. What is that? What is that?
That means enjoy your conversation, and
Oh,
we'll
really?
wrap it in a few seconds.
Okay, well that's good.
Be comfortable.
So you can't see Kenny, but when he's on the air, he makes gang signs at me. Really is what I said.
What this means is it means enjoy your
Okay.
saying goodbye. Goodbye.
Yeah, but I'm trying to bring him along television. You know, he's a radio guy. In television, this is 15 seconds. This is 30 seconds. That's 1 minute. Kenny starts flashing all kind of fingers up at me, and next thing, the one finger that we can't flash up is rated X here, so we can't do that. I'm taking you off the screen, my friend. All right. Well, look, Dr. Zappa, thank you so much for coming out and spending a
Thanks
little
so
time
much.
with us. You know, this is a pretty simple thing to do, but hopefully, and I don't want to say that we scared somebody, hopefully we provided information that will help parents make the right decisions and will help encourage kids to say, I got to listen to mom, I got to listen to dad, where's my helmet?
Yeah. If we impacted one, our time was well spent.
All right, Dr. Zappa, thank you so much. Right now, you're listening to Fayetteville's most dependable forecast with CBS 17 meteorologist Rachel Dunsing.
Tuesday will be mainly cloudy with a high of 85. Tonight will be cloudy with a stray shower and a low of 68, while Wednesday will have clearing skies and a high of 94. After warming up on Wednesday, Thursday will be another hot day flirting with triple-digit heat. Showers and thunderstorms return by the end of the week. That's your Fayetteville forecast. I'm CBS 17 meteorologist Rachel Dunsing.
Rachel, thank you so much. Finally, 74 degrees in Fayetteville, Fort Bragg, and also in Hope Mills. You're listening to News Talk 640 WFNC, and I'm going to say, see ya.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle from Blindster. Thousands of homeowners have trusted